Pleasure of speaking with Al Roundtree and he's got a great company called Social Bevy. How you doing, Al?
Man, I'm doing great. Warren, how about yourself?
I'm fabulous. I love hearing about new ideas and new companies and learning from business people. And I know I'm going to learn a lot today. So I'm thankful.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the nice words.
First of all, tell me about this cool new Social Bevy, this whole solution to social concierge. Tell me about this.
Yeah, my company Social Bevy is developing a AI-powered social concierge platform that connects users to events and activities but tailored to their social preferences. It's like a match.com before your social life. The whole concept is that a lot of times people use multiple platforms and apps just to engage in one social activity. It doesn't matter if it's a family event, maybe they want to go to a game, maybe they a business networking event, or going out with their fam and wife or whomever and going out with friends. And we thought that it'd be a great idea to simplify that for people, to make it easy to have a platform that knew what you like to do, where you like to go, the type of spaces you like to be in, the things that you're interested in socially, whether your makeup is having a family or whatnot. And so with that being said, we just found that there wasn't a solution that provided that. So we created one with Social Bevy.
So how did you end up? What was the inspiration for the idea? How did you say, hey, there's a hole in the market or there's a need that I want to fill? How did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, man, as a former athlete, and sometimes in the off season, I was tasked with planning activities for my family and for my friends or whatever. And a lot of times it was just so cumbersome because I had to go search different platforms or different places to go find something for us to do. And then if it required buying tickets or travel, I had to go to one platform to go buy a ticket, had to go to another one to book the travel, or then another one to book a hotel, and then another one to get a transportation. And so I just thought that, man, it would be great if there was a tool that could seamlessly do that in a one-stop shop place. And there wasn't one. And so that's how I came to creating Social Bevy.
I love it. Okay. So you mentioned being an athlete. The question I always love to ask is how does your training or coaching and athletics, how does that transfer to business world?
Oh man, well, one, I think the work ethics first, right? Like just being an athlete, being a pro athlete, you have to have a high level of work ethic in order to be successful, because everybody, when you get to a certain level, everybody's good. Everybody's fast. Everybody's quick. Everybody can catch. Everybody can, do things that you've done your whole life and excelled at amongst your other peers. But when you reach to a pro level, you have to have this level of this respect or work ethic that is like unmatched, right? There's a difference between those who are average and good and those who are good and great. And a great deal of it is about the work ethic that they put in, the time that you put in. And that's one thing that I feel like I've transferred it over into my professional life and being an entrepreneur and that. And then the other thing that I also like to say that I try to lean on is just being an athlete, you have to be coachable. So you got to be somebody that can receive information from other sources, from other people. You can't be the know-all, be-all, right? So I really pride myself on trying to be coachable and trying to open myself up to receive coaching and or guidance from those who have, know better than I, may have different experiences than I have. One of my mentors as a football player always told me, like, man, the best, because I played defensive back, and he would say, man, the best DB is somebody that listens to others that have been there and who you can, not that you got to take everything that they give you and apply it to your game, but you take the pieces that, that you like and you actually apply it to your game and to your life. And it's the same to me in the business world and what I'm doing with entrepreneur.
So I like that. My neighbor, Chris Harrington, also played pro for 5 years, I think. He was a defensive back as well. And he said that work ethic and just being in the tape room, studying tape, like huge part of success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to get in, you got to study that film. You got to put that time in. You got to put the time in when nobody else is around, when nobody else sees you. You're not at practice. It's what are you doing in those off-season moments too? So that are so important.
It's funny how when you hit a certain elite level, the work ethic becomes the thing and the coachability. I love what you said about coachability. One of the things we look at when we decide whether we're going to actually even work with a client is coachability. How coachable are they? Because if we come up with all these great strategies and then nothing gets implemented, or you don't want to listen to them, or you want to do it the way you always did it, nothing's going to change. So coachability is such a big piece of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also think coachability means humility, admitting that we don't know everything, and knowing that there are other people with some wisdom or perspective that we don't have. That's a big piece of coachability that is a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what makes some people great, because you're allowing that different perspective sometimes to come in, because you may not be seeing things the way that others see it. Think about it. Even the greatest people that are considered the greatest had coaches. Jordan had a coach. He had a weight coach. He had a strength coach. He had a shooting coach. And even now, today, these guys still do it. So it's like, what makes, special from anybody else that you're above coaching or getting better or sharpening or just receiving some stuff that maybe you just didn't see because a lot of times as we as business owners, even my background, feeling like I had to do a good job of marketing or business development, right? I think it's still good to get a perspective of somebody else that does that maybe there's something that because you're so ingrained into what you're doing. Like you're so focused on that thing, right? And you're not seeing the other stuff that you could be doing that may enhance what you're doing because you're so focused. And I think it's important that you allow that space and allow that room for that to happen in your business.
I love it. I think that's another analogy I use a lot, actually, is, hey, look, business owner, you're on the field running the place. I come in and I'm sitting up in the press box, seeing how things are developing and seeing who's moving where and who's doing what. And that outside perspective can be such a valuable thing, because when you're in it, it's just hard to have that perspective. It's impossible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me now, how do you go from idea to actually saying, you know what, I'm going to invest money and time into this space because I think I've got something here that is really unique and that consumers will want?
You got to have a level of crazy, I think.
I love it. You got to have a level of crazy.
You got to have a level of crazy, man. You got to be willing to, in some regard, man, you got to have a level of being able to jump off the ledge, right? Especially when you start a business, especially one like for mine, one that from all just personal purposes of what I've seen, there's nothing that is exactly like it, right? I know people always say there's somebody out there doing it, yes, but there's no prominent large brand that you could say, hey, your company is exactly like, it's a direct competitor to company A. Like, it's not like I'm creating a new Coke or Coke product or like a new soda. So then I could say, okay, I'm competing against Pepsi and Coke. No, it's not like that. Like so at some level, you got to have that. You got to have that thing that'll make you just the thing in you that you will just jump. You'll bet on yourself and you'll bet on what you're doing. And for a lot of people, that's hard. That's a challenge in and of itself, just getting over that hump. And the crazy thing about me is I am a little crazy. I think I've always been, I don't know, man, I've always been, I don't gamble, but I will gamble on myself and I have an idea for something and my ambition because I know how hard I work and the work that I'll put into it. And I'm not ignorant that I won't receive or take in stuff from other people or resources, help, blah, blah, blah. I think that helps me, and that has helped me to grow in this space. And then not to say that it's been easy, right? Like it hasn't been the easy process at all, for real. You talk about a guy who's trying to develop an app but knows nothing about developing. But to get to a place finally where you learn and how to navigate the skills that I lack or what have you, and how you go about building this thing, man, it's been a journey for sure. It's been a journey for me. When I first started, I was just trying to figure out, put the idea together. Like what is the idea? What do you do? And then I started, okay, how do you even start the process of developing an app? What does that look like? When you're coming from that's not your world, that's not your lane, all of this stuff is foreign to you. It's like speaking a different language. right? So it's like that, but you get in and you learn and you adapt and you believe in what you're doing. You keep going, you keep growing.
I think couple great takeaways there. I would love to ask a couple more questions on. Number one, like when it's really hard and arduous and you got naysayers and you run into all these kind of like bumps or somebody steals from you or whatever that looks like. How do you keep your mindset? Right.
Oh man, I don't know that there's an exact science for that one, man. I would say there have been many times where I've wanted to give up. And I wanted to just say, you know what, man, just go be an employee and go live the normal life and live in that security of getting your biweekly check or whatever. Go do the thing and just leave us alone. But for some reason, for me, I've always, whenever I get into that space of something like that, based on what you're talking about, is one or two things. One, I'm either reminded of how good an idea that you have, or you get reminded of something that tells you to keep going, right? Something will happen and you be like, man, okay, good. Keep going. Don't stop. Just don't stop. When I feel like my back's against the wall and when I want to quit the most, that's when something happens that reminds you to just take that next step forward, right? And then when it relates to other people, sometimes I think that that's where the athlete in me steps up and the competitor, right? And it shows up and saying, I'm going to show you. I'm a competitor. I'm not going to let you or this thing defeat me. And I'm going to keep going if I got to crawl, right? Excuse me. And so I think having that level of tenacity is important. But then I understand it when it's tough, man. And I've wanted to give up like anybody else. Hell, I haven't completely made it yet, but I'm going to keep going. I think that's the one thing that people that have been involved with my business or myself or known about Social Bevy since I've started, the one thing they committed, man, you're unrelenting. I'm like, yeah, I'm not stopping this. I don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. I'm not worried about that. I just know that I'm not stopping.
I love it. I love that you said, hey, I'm gamble, but I'll bet on myself. That's a real thing. And that fire in your gut to just go. And I believe in what I'm doing. And yet you're also being very wise in that you're saying, I've got to seek outside counsel. So I make sure I'm not just, because I've seen some ideas out there that aren't really very good that people believe in a lot too. So you're getting good perspective that yes, I have something that is competitive in the marketplace that there is a need for, and I'm going to go get it and stay at it. How do you know who to hire? And I think I would use this as an example. So you mentioned coding, building an app or whatever. You don't know how to build an app, neither do I. How did you know who to trust to do that work for you?
Man, by trial and error, I have.
That's a very good answer.
You know, that's an honest one, man, because I think a lot of times people present themselves. I think you and I were talking about this before. People present themselves as these gurus or experts and this, that, and the third. And then you invest this money with them and time and only to find out it's nothing like what you thought. I will say one special characteristic that I have found and people that I could trust, even if the quality of the work may not have been where I wanted it to be all the time. For somebody to come to me and give me a proposal to work with me, a contractor or one of these what do they call them, gig workers, what have you, hiring one of them. For one of them to say, you know what, hey, I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to present it to you. And I tell you what, if you like it, you pay me for it. If you don't, worry about it. To me, that was them putting money behind themselves and saying, you know what, I'm going to prove. And because of that, he's my graphic designer. This guy and I have been working together since I started Social Bevy. Because I value that aspect of him, showing up in that way. Because it was like, I'm gonna put myself on the line here and I'm just gonna do it because nobody else would do that. I'm not saying there's not a lot of people who would do that. You know what I mean? Everybody wants money up front. They want money up front. Then they want money for their time. And then if they create something for you, if you don't like it, they want money for the edits and money like they're going to make this perfect thing. No, and I appreciated that, right? So I value that so much that he and I have been working together on a number of things for years. And I just appreciated how he And so even now, man, I'm in the place of developing a team. And to your point of how do you trust, how do you know who to hire? Well, I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know. I try to not only lean on myself, because I'm the type of person, I believe everybody, unless you just give me this eerie feeling or what have you, but I believe my gut instincts about people and that they're nice people and that they're this and that and that's failed me too.
Yeah.
So what I try to do now is be different and say, you know what, I might like this person, but let me get 2 or 3 other people to also help me vet this individual because of what we're doing. Well, I think you also got to pay attention to when certain people show up in other ways, like the example I gave with my graphic designer. Like even now, trying to hire a product operations manager for our platform and for the business, I have some individuals that have come to me and say, hey, you know what? Listen, even if you don't pick me, Al, I will still just love to be a part of what you're doing. To me, that speaks volumes. Like, that doesn't come across, you don't get that, right? Hell, I've never done that when looking for a job. Like I'm not going to go to that company and be like, you know what? If you don't hire me, can I be an intern? I'm not doing that. Like no one's doing that. And so I just think when you see certain things like that, sometimes that leap out at you, you have to pay attention to that as well. I think that's important. But I try to, the biggest thing is trying to tap into other people to help me vet them outside of myself as well.
I think that's brilliant. I agree. If they're really bought into the vision of what you're doing and they're excited about it, and if it, like you said, if they don't get the job, they're still cool with it. That's a big go sign for me, from my perspective. And also if your spidey senses are telling you something's not right about this person, even though they're saying all the right things, cut them. Don't hire them. It's so funny because you're always going to figure that out down the road, and you're going to be right. Even if you don't know what it is, it's just something. I had a guy, and like he was really good. I was hired for a position when I was in Virginia. I was like a sales manager position, local sales manager, and this guy came in and he said all the right things and did all the right things and had the resume and everything. And he laughed, and I'm like, I think we went out for dinner. My wife, something's not right about this dude. It turned out he's basically a pathological liar. And we figured it out because he had actually went to another one of our TV stations, and we backgrounded it and figured it all out. But I didn't catch that, but she did. So then the other thing you said about having somebody else's perspective, some people have better antenna for
exactly.
Those kind of cues and something. Sounds a little off here, folks.
Exactly.
I'm more like you. I'm like, I like everybody pretty much.
Exactly.
Until you piss me off, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt all day long.
Exactly. That's exactly it, man. I want to believe in everybody. Like, yeah, come on.
Yeah. I assume the best until you get proven wrong.
Exactly.
So how do you do this? This is a question. Now, when you're building something like this, that can be used really anywhere in the country or even the world. How do you do this? How do you get it to scale without, I don't know, it feels like you got to boil the ocean sometimes. So how do you, niche it down, or how do you get to a target market that's going to be a hot user market for you to get the revenue generation engine running?
For me in this business, I think the thing is to focus on the audience that is definitely what is your target audience? Who are your primary core group of customers that are going to use this platform, and is it something of value to them? And once you answer that question, then it's okay. Then for that audience, what is it? How would it be of value to them? What is the stuff that's useful to them? So what I did was chose to scale it all the way down and develop this niche, if you will, to where we actually have a social audience, a social group of about 27,000 people who the community is all about eating and meeting and being social and that sort of thing, right? And so this group fits that dynamic of our core customer. And so because it fits that dynamic of that core customer, then the decision was because of development costs and stuff like that, you can't necessarily come out with a product that you want to with all these bells and whistles. So let's develop a skeleton of it, right? And then we can add the meat, the bones, the tendons, put the skin on it, or what have you later, because you know where you ultimately want to go. But you start here just to provide a simple solution for your core customer. And then once you start gaining that traction, maybe generating some revenue with just having the skeleton out. Once you start getting that revenue, then you take that revenue and you grow and build in that way. And then you gotta even be strategic in how you put it out in the market, just because of where we are in terms of, technology. Everybody has your eyes on everything now and being bought out, and your threats, your competitors out there that may do certain things, whatever. So you gotta take all of that in consideration too.
Yeah. So you're trying to develop something and get not the best, but you're trying to get good enough out there and then scale it and grow it and iterate it. And that seems brilliant to me, because I know a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people when I've interviewed them say, one of the things I didn't do was I didn't just put the product in the market and then get feedback and then iterate it. I tried to do at best, make it perfect. Well, first of all, it's never going to be perfect. Secondly, your idea of what perfect is might be different than what the consumer's idea of what perfect is. Might be two completely different things. Sit out to the market and go. That makes sense. So what's your biggest challenge right now in your business?
Ooh, man, where do you start? The biggest challenge for me, man, one of the biggest challenges for me would be, I would say, which is why we're doing it, is having a team. I think because just being a founder, a lot of times you get tasked with wearing so many hats. I'm not a tech guy, but I have to be the CTO.
Yes.
I have to worry about the business development side of things. I have to worry about the marketing side of things. I have to handle the social media side of things. If I'm a scheduled podcast and film, I got to get that done. I have to work. I'm trying to raise capital. So it's like all of these hats that require quite a bit if you really want to pursue these things, right? And it's just hard to juggle all of that stuff on your own. And that's I think for me, the two things that I want to focus on for me and within this next quarter is the team, and then this pre-seed round. The team, three things: the team, the pre-seed round, and polishing up our phase one. So this MVP.
Yep.
So those are the things that I want to really focus on, but I feel like I can't do it all. I just can't. And you know what? One of the crazy thing about me is I don't want to. I'm not one of those founders that, man, I got it. I could do this. No, I don't want to do any of it. I don't even want to be the smartest man in the room. I'd rather have geniuses that do these particular things, and we're working together because we got this vision and we're all on the same mission. And I'd rather have that than for me to have to.
Yes.
That's how I would really, if I had it my way, for sure.
That's awesome. So then, you're the only person that's ever had that problem as a founder. I'm joking. Everybody has that problem.
Right.
Your struggle is so unique from everybody else's. Right. No, that's the thing that's so hard, because how do you know? Look, and there's the easy thing to do, obviously, is take the stuff that's the cheapest to delegate and the stuff you hate the most and get rid of that, right? Mm-hmm. That stuff, not only is it cheap to delegate or replicate or sub out or whatever, but then the stuff you hate doing takes all your energy. And so getting rid of those things first, I think, are best. But it's always that, every business owner struggles with this. So I love asking you a question, because how do you take that and make those decisions, when to scale, how to scale, and who to hire, and then make sure we are leveraging as much as we can out of our people to grow the business.
Absolutely.
Okay. So another hard question for you. What, if you could do one thing different, if you're starting over, you could do one thing different, what would that be?
Oh, man. I think the one thing I probably would have done differently is started out with, really trying to understand how I wanted to start and go to market. I think for me, that quite frankly, cost me some years, because I kept changing. You talked about earlier You mentioned some founders who said that they always you wanted to have that perfect product and this and that. I wanted to just come out with the perfect product too. And then I did have some advisors telling me, man, you want to do that, but maybe do it in a niche or whatever. But I didn't even understand that even, I still needed, even in doing my product, that maybe I shouldn't come out with everything. I wasn't totally bought into that concept that you start instead of doing everything from A to Z, let's start with A, B, and C. Let's polish that, get that going. Let's get the review of the consumer. Let's see how it works. What do they like? Because maybe you scale in a different way. Maybe, yes, you get to these things that you want to get to, but you might go from A, B, C to F because that's what the consumers want and that's what your clients want. So then you're getting there, you putting the pieces on, but it's not happening the way that you want to, and that's okay because you're making the customers, the users happy. So I think that's what I would do if I could start all over again. I think I would have really taken my time to buy into understanding a niche that I wanted to start, because I started out thinking I was about to just do everything for everybody. Everybody's gonna want it. I don't care who they are. Like, everybody's gonna want my app and everybody's gonna use it. It's gonna be great. This, that, and the third. And no, wait, slow your horses, slow down. Let's pick one group. Let's pick one core audience. Let's focus on them. And then once you build a thing, simplify what you're building for that group, and then just add it and blah, blah, blah. Then it'll expand, then it'll reach. And so I think that's what I would really definitely, because that cost me a lot of time and years, because also trying to build that perfect product, if it wasn't right or something like that, no, we wouldn't put it out. No, let's not do this. Oh, no, I don't want to have it this way. No, it's got to have this way. No, I'm not doing this. We're not going to do a launch, or no, we're not going to do, no, not. That cost me a ton of time, man, a ton of time. I've had different variations of the platform. I've had it done. I've had it designed. I've had it up. I've had it. And I was just always hesitant to, for whatever reason, to go with it. And I never did. But I learned a lot from it too. But that's what I definitely would, that's what I would go back and change for sure.
Well, it's brilliant. I appreciate you sharing that. It's so true. And it's hard to know when. You had mentioned earlier in our conversation about picking a really good, unique target or unique customer profile, zoning in and really trying to solve their problem, fulfill their need first, and then you can always go back and big. So that's really wise. Any last advice? Any business leader or business book or something you read that you think everybody else should read?
Man, depending on what they're doing, right now I'm reading Think and Grow Rich, because I feel like I need that level of thought and energy and manifestation that you're putting out, and just how you're approaching what you're doing, belief in yourself every single day and doing those things. That's important. From business wise, the one book that I read, just because I'm developing a platform, is Platform Revolution. So just talking about, if you're doing platforms or anything like that, just because there's always these, we talked about having the egg, what comes first, the chicken or the egg thing, and how you get understanding what that is. And I think for every platform that may be different, depending on what you're doing. And those are the two for me right now that I'm in.
Really, really good. Thank you so much. You meet good people, and I've been so blessed to be able to do this thing. And I love your energy. I love your competitive spirit. Working with athletes is always great because they got it. They work their tails off. They're focused. They're disciplined. They got the grind. They got the winning mentality. So I really appreciate that about you.
Man, I appreciate that, Warren. I hope that gets me somewhere. But no, man, I appreciate it.
So if somebody wants to sign up for Social Bevy, they just go to socialbevy.com, or is it actionable yet for folks?
Yes, it is. So right now, because drilling down to the niche and stuff that we talked about right now is Houston focused. So the platform right now provides a solution for a lot of our community, always asking what's a good happy hour, what's a good brunch, where's a good place like that. So what we've done is we're building a solution for that right now. So you can go to socialbevy.com and find good happy hour venues and places and spaces right now in the Houston area. And then we'll also be adding some other elements, like we'll be adding events to that as well. So we'll have it where you can find happy hour brunches, and then even possibly some events in different spaces. And then we'll be adding more personalization. So it's It'll be personalized to you based on your interest in certain environments, atmospheres. If you like certain amenities, what have you, we want to provide those spaces that provide that to you, that where you could go and get a good brunch, and then we'll grow from there. So that's where we're starting. So people can definitely access socialbevy.com, go in and sign up, hit join now, sign up as a what we call social bees or vendors. On it, a social bees is a consumer. Came up with that concept because I saw bees bees are animals that are never really by themselves. They're social. They're always communing together. And when they go to a place all at once, they're swarming certain places and venues. So that's why we came up with the term social bees. But
Love
that's
it. Socialbevy.com. I'll tell you, regardless of whether you hire me, I want to be part of your movement. How's that?
Absolutely. We do. I love that.
Full circle all the way around.
Absolutely.
I wish you the best. Thoroughly enjoyed our time. I really appreciate you, and good luck. I know you're going to crush this thing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Warren, and I hope to see you soon.
Deal.
All right, man.